Welcome to the Local Marketing Source Weekly Update, brought to you by localmarketingsource.com.
This week's Local Marketing Update is brought to you by Scott Gallagher. Scott is the co-founder of Local Marketing Source and has become the recognized expert in providing online marketing services to local businesses. Follow Scott on Twitter at ScottGallagher5 and on Facebook.com/Scott P. Gallagher.
Scott Gallagher here with Local Marketing Source, and this is our weekly local marketing industry update. There wasn't a heck of a lot that went on this week, but we've got a few different things to talk about. Some aspects of elements that are interesting to have discussions around. Before I get going with that, a couple of housekeeping items. For our Local Marketing Source members, if you haven't signed up for your free coaching session, please do so. I'm actually going to go ahead and put a link in the chat box right now, so you can go ahead and book your time. There's also a link inside the Facebook group. Now, today we're going to talk a little bit about something called the Google Trusted Verifier program. What is it? Where is it? And how is that going to apply? This was an interesting discussion about how much money Apple has paid Google to make Safari, which is Apple's default browser, default to Google search. And it's a pretty big deal. And there's some big changes going on at Google right now. Anybody know who Amit Singhal is? We got some discussions in regards to that. But other than that, there really wasn't a lot that went on this week. So what is the Google Trusted Verifier program? And what this is it's a new solution that will allow a business owner to verify listings when they're physically at a location on their mobile device. In other words, it's going to evade the phone call and evade the mailer to verify that listing. Now, Google had made a mistake, and they had rolled out this solution and rolled out all the help files to this solution. However, only selected people were able to do it. And since then, all of those files have been removed, and it is only available to those people that have been invited for the test of the program. But it looks like that this is going to be a new methodology to update, which I think is good and cool. Now, Google has paid Apple $1 billion annually to have the privilege to bring Safari and Google together, and Google as the default search engine. Now, that's a lot of money. It could translate, and they say it's as high as $1.3 billion, but let's say it's in the amount of roughly $1 billion. And Google, in turn, has indicated that their revenue from that search is roughly $13.5 billion. So, I mean, that's just staggering in terms of the numbers. I thought I would, like to share some of that. But that's typically, their revenue from mobile search under iOS devices. So it's pretty crazy. And 75% of all mobile searches under Google are on mobile devices. So of that 13 billion, 75% are on iOS mobile devices. It's about $8 billion. It's incredible. And gosh, we're flying through the updates this week. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of changes. There wasn't a lot that was going on, and there's really not a lot for me to talk about. This could quite possibly be the shortest weekly call in the history of Local Marketing Source. I see it's already 3:05, and we got one more thing to talk about. Well, Amit Singhal, he's been the head of Google Search for over 15 years. And he's now leaving the company, and he's leaving it for philanthropic purposes. and Scott can't talk today. His last day is going to be at the end of this month, and his next journey is going to be, what type of impact he can make on the world. Let's face it, he's made a lot of money with Google, and now he's got the opportunity to retire. And it's just absolutely wonderful for him to spend his time with his family and his son. His son is going off to college soon, and we're going to see some changes at Google. Now, John, see if I can pronounce this, Gianandre, and John has been involved with RankBrain. That is something I talked about last week, RankBrain, and that's Google's version of artificial intelligence. And he's been heading that up for 6 years, and he's now going to be taking over Amit. And so what does that say? Well, AI has been his baby for 6 years, and now he's heading up all of search. Yeah, you can paint the picture, and we're likely going to see a lot of AI improvements inside of search over the next 12 months. At least that's what I think is going to happen. Matt Cutts is gone as well. He left the company last year, and he hasn't left the company, but he went on leave from the company for an indefinite amount of time. So some of the head guys at Google are shaping it up, and I think we're going to start to see some of that AI come into play and whatnot. So that gave me an extra 2 minutes. And just as a reminder for LMS students, I've been working with quite a few students over the last couple of weeks in these calls and getting an understanding of where they're at and essentially just trying to provide a little bit of direction. So I want to encourage you, if you haven't taken advantage of that, to jump on. The link, like I said, is in the Facebook group, and you can just click on that and go through. And it's an automated process to book my time. I see it in my calendar, and I'll communicate with you through Skype. And just to give you a little idea of that process, what happens is once you register, another form is sent to you, and some questions are asked. And so when we conduct our call, I have a much better understanding of who you are, where you are, and what you want to accomplish in this time frame. And we'll have a quick little discussion in regards to what can be done for you and what elements of accountability and areas of improvement that are important for you for 2016. And essentially getting that plan together and following that plan. Another little tidbit of a side note here on just some information that's happening at Local Marketing Source. We are opening up another premium agency growth group come March 1st. And Local Marketing Source is also launching for the first time a boot camp. And this is going to be a work like hell for 3-day event. And you are going to be put together with other Local Marketing Source students that are at relatively the same stage. We've done our market research within our memberships, and we've got enough people that have been committed to the boot camp that it's going to be a go-ahead. So I'm going to be sharing some information with you on that. And then finally, next Thursday, we're putting on a live cast. This is not a webinar. This is a full-on show that's going to be conducted in my office. We got the green screen, we got the cameras, the lights, and some awesome content to share with you. And I'm going to be getting into some really deep details in regards to some of the biggest implications to organizing and managing your client base. In other words, executing that first month and getting it done in the first month, and looking right at that and actually going through some of the process for that. So it's probably something that you want to participate in. You're going to be seeing the communication go out for that very shortly. So we'll let you in on that. I see a couple more people have come in the last couple of minutes. Guys, just want to let you know that we've already gone through the updates. Just a quick overview. Google Trusted Verifier program. Essentially, it's just you can sit in a location and verify a location on a mobile device. We had a discussion about Google paying Apple $1 billion for Safari default placement, and that translates into over $13 billion in revenue for Google. And finally, some shakeup at Google with Emmett Singal and the status update or current status of Matt Cutts. So if you got any questions, go ahead and raise your hand or post your questions in the questions box. I don't seem to have any questions at this point or any hands that are raised, so I'll give it 30 seconds, and if not, we'll move on.
Well, thanks for watching the Local Marketing Industry Update. We've got these things coming out every single week, so if you liked with what you heard, just click the button right above me right here to subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to get a little bit more, right over here, go check out localmarketingsource.com. We've got free reports that you can grab. You can even register for a free marketing course to get in and see the portal. Or just go ahead and follow us on some of the social channels. We'll be around. Until next time.